A lot of my clients are going through a breakup, so I wanted to make this video as a reminder. A lot of people want instructions, so here's instructions. The first thing you have to do is know and believe with all your heart that the relationship is expired. Okay, it like milk. There was an expiration date. It was meant to go this long, and now it has expired. Once you believe that, the breakup can either now be a gift or a curse, depending on your mindset. So, if you are going to start thinking, what could I have done? If he could just change these things, it could work. Should I go back? Because you're emotionally unstable, if you start thinking that way, you are going to wilt, you're going to be weak. People don't change overnight. If you were to go back, there's a reason why the relationship is over, and nothing's going to change because it hasn't been long enough, okay? So if you start thinking that way, you're going to compromise. And if you don't go back to him or her, you're going to go back to someone like him or her, and that cycle will repeat itself. So you have to, that's where it could be a curse. If you want this breakup to be a gift, then you say to yourself, what was my responsibility in this relationship, in the expiration of this relationship? What did I do? What did I learn about myself by being around this person? Okay, and don't make it about the other person. Bring it toward you. What did you learn about yourself? What responsibility are you willing to take in the way that you behaved or the way that you maneuver in this relationship? And how did you contribute to the expiration? Okay, and so now that you have all this information, we are going to start the process of rebuilding. So in front of you, you have all this information. This is gold, okay? This is how the breakup can actually be a gift. You take all that information, you start deciding, okay, now what do I want? Who do I want to be? And this is when people say, well, you got to date yourself. Oh, well, there's truth to that. And the reason is, this is the process of rebuilding. And now you start saying, okay, what am I willing and not willing to negotiate? Make a list. I don't care if it's 5 or 50. Tattoo it on your back, your forehead, your chest. I don't know, tape it to your wall, but make sure that there are things that you are not willing to negotiate. Character assassination, whatever you compromise this time around, it's not going to happen, okay? So by doing this, you are going to start to build a strainer, okay? And with the strainer, you are going to pour whoever you meet next through it, and if they fall, then let them go down the river, and if they stay, then they're going to be gold. And the strainer is built on your non-negotiables. The strainer is built on what you want, what you need. The other thing is, once you start this process, you now have momentum to make it about you. And that's what's going to give you power in a breakup, is that you just start making it about you. Not about your friends, not about your family, not about anyone else. You make it about you. And that doesn't mean being selfish. That means you're going through a process of validating yourself, because I think in the other relationship you probably did not. You might have lost yourself. So validate yourself, make it about you, and that's going to give you some momentum, some traction, and you start rebuilding yourself. That's also going to get your mindset on, instead of dwelling on the past and what happened and what could be, you're now future focused. You're now thinking about who you want to be, and you're working towards something. So that is leverage, that is power, that is momentum, that is traction. The other thing that happens when you're doing this is you start to become more confident, because as you start to build this and rebuild yourself and know what you want and know what you need and start going after those things, you start what I call unlocking your code. You are maneuvering in a space where your potential, right, is much higher, because you are maneuvering more in your truest form. People have the most potential when they're in their truest form. So in that relationship, because there's a reason why it was over, and that relationship was probably dysfunctional, you were not in your truest form. Okay, you were walking with the veneer, you were whatever, seeking approval, validation, you were doing a lot of taking by wanting something back from the other person and losing yourself. So in this new state, you are now recovering and being closer to your truest form, which means you're unlocking your potential, and all this great energy is going to build your confidence and change who you are. Putting that out there, it's going to make you more attractive. which is a process. I'm not going to say that it happens overnight, but it's a process. Okay? And being more attractive means you have more choices. And when you have more choices, you can decide now that you have non-negotiables, a safety net of what you want and what you need, and hopefully be strong enough to know that this is not for me because I've been there. This is for me because I did not have it and I want it. I deserve it. Also, this process will sharpen your radar so you know, you can smell what unhealthy or dysfunction looks like. So that's kind of the broad strokes of getting over a breakup. And here's the thing. The more work you put into it and the more you start the process, the more progress you will see and the faster you will be on that track of getting over the other person. Now, I'm not saying that it's not going to be painful and it's not going to be hard and you're not going to miss the person, of course. But you have to keep leaning forward because the only way out is through. And this is what going through looks like. If you don't do this and you spend your days thinking about all the amazing moments and the time that you did this and how all because what we do is when we think about relationships we usually miss all the good moments. Okay, we don't think about the bad stuff. We think about the good stuff, but we don't realize that there was a lot of bad stuff too. And so if you start doing that, your lenses are going to get very foggy and you are going to get very lonely and very weak and you are going to become powerless and get sucked up back into that cycle. So it's really late, and if you think someone needs to hear this, pass it along.